Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to explain canonical tags, one of the crucial aspects of technical SEO. We'll be covering fundamental core concepts like the different types of canonical tags you can use, canonical tag issues and errors we frequently run into, debugging techniques to help you understand and fix canonical tag issues, and what canonical tags are. So first, what is a canonical tag? Well, a canonical tag is a part of a website page which tells search engines which version of a website page is the original and therefore indexable version of the content. So in our case, we have this website page here, Financial Services SEO. If we inspect by right-clicking, we can open the head element of our page and see our link rel equals canonical href SEO for financial services element. So in this case, this is a good example of a self-referential canonical tag. This is a self-referential canonical tag because the URL of the page that we've loaded exactly matches the canonical link element included here. Canonical is what is understood by search engines, and the following link element is how you're defining what that canonical tag is. So a self-referential canonical tag is the first and most commonly used type of canonical element used on the internet. This is essentially saying this page is the original version of this page and I want this page indexed to search engines. So a proper canonical tag is where the canonical element differs from the page. The canonical link element differs from the page URL that you've loaded. So if we were to add services advisors to this canonical link element, we'd be saying to Google, content on this page, financial services SEO, is actually originally found in this page, SEO financial services advisors. So we're basically saying to Google or any search engine that supports canonical tag elements that this isn't the original version of the page. Please go over here and look at this version of the page, which is the original version, and index this one instead. So that's an example of a proper canonical tag, and a proper canonical tag essentially means you are telling Google and search engines to go somewhere else for this content. Don't index this page, go somewhere else and index that original page. So canonical tags pass search engine crawlers known as bots and ranking signals, link equity, whatever you want to call it, through to the canonical target. So what are the common issues that you run into with canonical tags? Well, there are a few, and they're quite complex, but also not. So let's just go through them. So one of the most common is a dynamic URL canonical tag rules. So essentially, that means that, well, let's go through all the list first. Another one could be spaces in canonical tag rules, multiple conflicting canonical tag rules, subdomain inconsistencies in your canonical tag rules, trailing slash issues in your canonical tag rules, canonical tags pointing to redirected pages or 404 pages, canonical tags appearing outside the head of your website code, proper canonical tags where page content is similar but not identical, or if it's not similar and it's just a canonical tag that's been added in error. That's kind of the gist of most canonical tag issues. Like, you can kind of get an understanding of most of the kind of issues you'll run into with those explanations. But let's show you a few specific ways this can happen so that you have a bit more of an understanding. So let's say we were to load this page through a marketing campaign where we included this param to track click IDs through the marketing campaign. In this case, we might see the param included in the canonical tag rule. Now, this would be an issue because generally params are used to track and measure engagement with a page through something like a marketing campaign. So they're generally used to measure the success of a marketing campaign. I'm not saying that's the only reason they use. There's tons of usages for params, but in this example, we're saying let's say this is what it's used for. So if the canonical tag updates to reflect whatever is included in the marketing campaign params, you've more than likely got an issue with a dynamic canonical tag system. This is because if this can be verified by loading the page without the param and seeing what the canonical rule is. If you remove the param and load the page and you see a self-referential canonical tag, which we've got here, you know that there's an issue because essentially you're saying to Google, this is the original version of the page we want to index, but then you're also saying each param version of the page is original and we want to index. That's an issue because Google's only going to think you need one of these pages. It doesn't really care that you're doing a big marketing push. It doesn't want all those pages indexed. It's going to index the original one. So your canonical tag rules should follow that system where params are stripped out and only the original page is included in the canonical tag rules. Another example of a dynamic dynamic kind of issue with canonical tags is one we've experienced before with a website we're working on, quite a big website, but well known. They had pages which were created to host the latest versions of deals for iPhone models. And they had pages like this, iPhone 14 Pro -deals. But the canonical tag of that page was iPhone 14 Pro deals. So it added subsequent deals to the end of the URL. When you loaded the deals page, you got a 200 indexable page. The canonical tag element of that page added another deals element. So it said deals. So we're up to 3. When you loaded the deals page, you got another deals appended to the canonical URL in the canonical tag rule. So we got up to 4 deals. When you loaded that page with 4 deals, another one was added, making it 5. This went on and on and on to about 20 versions we counted. That's an issue because you're not only sending search engines crawling all of these different versions of pages which are identical, but you're also telling them that there's another new page to go and crawl within that canonical tag rule. So that's one of the sort of it's unusual, but it does happen, and I still see it happening today with various websites. I noticed one the other day that had a very similar system, very similar setup with issues like that. So another one to consider is spaces in canonical tag rules. So this is pretty uncommon these days, and things like WordPress tend to stop this being an issue. But if we were to add spaces at the end of a page in a canonical tag rule, that might cause issues for search engines. This is commonly only an issue when you're using something like Excel to create and define canonical tag rules. So you might add copy a load of data from somewhere, copy a load of URLs from somewhere, or rebuild URLs from a spreadsheet and copy them into your CMS. And if there are spaces at the end of an Excel cell, then it might cause you issues with your canonical tag rules because pages have to be identical in canonical tags to make it work. This is pretty uncommon. I tried to replicate this in WordPress and break the page to show you this, but it didn't work. WordPress is good at removing spaces, extra spaces, so Probably not one to worry about too much, but if you do have issues where you can't see a difference with your canonical tag rules and your URLs and things like that, but they're still getting issues in Google, then maybe check that. Maybe check spacings at the end of your process. Multiple conflicting definitions. So this example would be where if we were to duplicate this element and this version of the canonical tag said something different, like let's say it's SEO for health services. In this case, two canonical tag rules. They point to different pages. How are search engines supposed to know which one is which? Which one do they choose? So that's an issue. More issues if we just refresh this page to remove that. More issues are things like subdomain inconsistencies. So on our website, we load the pages without any subdomains. There's no www, there's no search.searchnatural or anything like that. There's no subdomain. So the canonical tag rules should all reflect this. If we were to see canonical tags with, that's an issue because that's a subdomain that doesn't exist, has no content, it's not there. It would likely be a 300 redirect, 301 redirect, 307 potentially, but it would be a redirect. Essentially, that is a canonical pointing to a redirect. It's a canonical chain in that it ends up would likely end up back on this page anyway when it's crawled. So it's canonical for a redirect. It's not ideal. Similar to this is if your canonical tag rule has HTTP when you're running on HTTPS. Probably not the biggest issue in the world. Probably not something that you're going to see too many issues with. But again, you're pushing search engines through redirects, which they generally don't like doing. Slows down their crawling. And another example is if you use trailing slashes on your website, so a slash at the end of your URLs, and your canonical tag rules don't have this. And in the worst cases, that would be a live indexable version of the page with either a self-referential canonical tag or a canonical tag back to the trailing slash version, or it might be a 301 redirect back to the trailing slash version. Generally, you just want to, with trailing slash, just pick one style of URL and be consistent with that across the entire website. So either have a trailing slash and redirect all your non-trailing slash versions to that page like we do, or don't include a trailing slash and make sure that all of your URLs load without a trailing slash. I guess another issue that we've kind of already discussed a little would be where there's a proper canonical tag issue. So proper canonical tags are where the canonical tag rule points to a different page. So let's say we say SEO for health services, and that's the canonical tag rule. In this case, given what the page is about, financial services SEO, we would assume that this is probably a proper canonical tag error, and that this page should actually have its own canonical tag, its own like self-referential canonical tag rule, rather than pointing to a different page which is about a different topic. I've seen this happen on sites. So someone was selling soaps, for example. They copied a product page from a different category. So they copied a shampoos product category page, turned it into soaps, talked about soaps, added all the soap content, all the soaps images, all the soaps targeting, and published a page. Little did they know they'd also copied across the shampoos canonical URL, which was fixed, like manually added and fixed, and it was so the new page canonical back from a soaps page, a new soaps product page, back to a shampoos page. So the soaps page actually really struggled to get indexed in this case. So that's an issue to watch out for as well. Just make sure you check this once you publish pages. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Another issue is canonical tags can sometimes be added outside the head of the page. So this is the head, opening head element. If you add it below the closing head element in the body section of the website, it won't work. So just watch out for that as well. It's very unlikely on modern CMSs, if you're using like WordPress or something like that, you probably won't come into that issue. but it's worth checking. It's worth making sure if you're having issues with canonical tags. So now we've been through a few examples. I guess there's one more example, which is super common as well, actually, and that's where people use relative URLs. So canonical tags have to be absolute, and a relative URL looks like this. This is super common. I've seen stuff like this when I've been going to like SEO interviews and told the people that I was interviewing, like, why do you do that? Literally Google say don't do this because it doesn't work. So that's a relative canonical tag. You can use relative links internally. You can say like if like this breadcrumb could be relative and that would work fine, but canonical tags cannot be relative. They have to be absolute, i.e. including HTTPS, HTTP, all of that stuff. Make sure it's absolute, not relative like this. So that's incorrect. That's relative. This is correct. That's absolute. So I think we're there with the issues. I'm going to show you how to debug. So one of the best ways to debug canonical rules is just using a spreadsheet. So simply, you can add a column of URLs and a column of your canonical tags. So you can get these from a crawler or something like that, put them into a spreadsheet. There's usually like a crawl report that says like canonical rules. Write this simple formula: if A4 equals C4, it matches. If not, no match. If you're expecting self-referential canonical tags and you're seeing no match, you've got an issue. Could be, in this case, it's obviously the deals issue. We're seeing deals on here and deals on here, and issues all the way through. In this case, I just pasted in one that matches with 5 deals. 5 deals and 5 deals here, so that matches. So we know that's not a problem. So that's a good way to check. Super simple, super quick. You can add advancements to this that check for whether it's a self-referential tag or checking for no canonical tag added. So if you've got a lot of crawl data to look through and you want to quickly see what's happening, this is something I use when auditing quite a lot so that I can understand which pages have what, or if it's a proper canonical tag. So here we can see the iPhone 15 Pro deals. In this case, we've added a space at the end of this. You can see there, so there's a space at the end of that URL. So that's why that's coming up as a proper canonical tag. That's got no space. And here's a self-referential tag, just for example. So that's a really good way to do it. If we were to add one more page and change it to 16. And then just copy this down. We'd see that was again a self-referent. The wrong thing. Yeah. My formula is screwy. So if we change it to C10, which is correct, we should see it's proper canonical tag. Yeah, there we go. So that's how that works. Super simple, super easy to debug. Another way to debug canonical tags is via Google Search Console. So we're going to copy this URL. We're going to just close out of this and go to Search Console. Paste your URL into inspect any URL and hit enter. You'll then see URL inspection. You can test a live URL. We're not going to do that right now. And you'll see a page indexing section. This is open and closable. It says page index. That's a good sign. You can open it. You'll see discovery, how the page was discovered, what the referring page was, the crawl data, when it was last crawled, what was it crawled as, generally Google smartphone, crawl allowed, is it indexable? That would be no if there's a meta or it was no index rule. So then you can see what we've declared as canonical. So in our case, we've got a self-referential canonical tag. If you see Google suggesting there's something else, it might say we've chosen this canonical URL. it might say that there's no user declared canonical URL. That might be if you've added the canonical URL to the wrong place, or there is no canonical tag included in the code. So this is a really good way to debug. You can do it on live pages. You can paste pages in. You can't do it on in bulk, which is why it's just the Excel element for like bulk checks. But this is really good for single pages if you're having issues. You might see that Google's just decided to canonicalize something somewhere else because there's too much similarity across the pages. In that case, just make things different. So what's the last type of canonical tag rule recommendations we have for you? So there's one more issue, one more error that we commonly come across, and I want to just talk you through it quickly so we can explain how to fix the issue. So let's say we have a blog section of the site. Let's say the site has 50 pages. So we're going to say this URL, the default URL for our blog content section is that. So on this page, you see links to 15, no, let's say 12 of our best articles. So that's what you see. You go to our blog section of the site and you see /blog/page. So the expected canonical element for this page would be self-referential. You want the page to be indexed. So you're going to include a self-referential canonical tag, which is that. So what happens when you go to page 2 of this? You've got 50 pages. So let's say we go to page 2. And the structure of page 2 is that. What would you expect the canonical element to be? You'd expect this, right? No, that's wrong. So, no, it's not. That's right. So what you're doing here is you are including a self-referential canonical tag because the content on page 2 is different to the content on page 1. So you wouldn't want page 2 canonical tag to say that because that is an issue. You're basically saying don't index this page. It's the same as don't index page 2. It's the same as the main page where all our sort of first set of blogs are included. That's incorrect. You can't say that because you want all those pages to be indexed so they're all crawlable so all of your content can be discovered. So what about page 12? Okay, enter again. So we're going to get 404. That's fine. Again, we want self-referential so that that page gets indexed. There's only one exception to this, and it's a conditional rule that you need to kind of think about and look at your website and see how it's structured and how it works. So very often sites with a lot of content have a paginated kind of set of numbers at the bottom of the page. So you might have on page 1, they might have links to 10, the first 10 blog category pages, which you can click across and it will load that page for you. So if you click 5, it will load page 5. You click page 6, it will load page 6. Page 12, it will load page 12. So generally what those pages then have is a page 1 when you're going back the other way. So once you've gone to page 3, you can see page 1. Or even on page 1, you can sometimes see page 1. The thing with page 1 is you're already on page 1 when you load this page. That is page 1. So the only instance where you need to change this rule is where you're on page 1, your canonical tag rule should point to page or back to the main original version of the page that's linked in your index because they're likely the same content elements. Unless you start counting from 0, which some sites do, that's fine. But if you're counting from page if page 0 is the same as page 1, if your original page shows the same content as page 1, which is like, this is an issue. I'm going through this because it's commonly something I see. Like, this is an issue I commonly run across. So this is what I recommend here. You make sure that if you're on page 1, it chronologizes back to page, because generally the content is the same. But obviously you need to check that for your specific instances, see what's the same, see what's different. So that's pretty much everything about canonical tags. Hopefully you've seen the course and hopefully it's made sense and you've got some clear instructions what to do and understanding of how to debug and fix canonical tag elements. This video is accompanying that, and it's hopefully to help explain and sort of help you visualize what you're looking for, where you're looking to sort of see things and what to do. So that's kind of it from me. Obviously, feel free to comment, ask me questions, email me. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'll be back soon with another video, hopefully to explain more complex, intricate SEO stuff. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.